Hey friends, welcome back to Homestead on a Prayer. In case you're new here, my name's Jennifer. Today it's a little bit of a breezy, kind of chilly day outside, but I'm hanging outside in my chicken yard because, not surprisingly, I want to talk to you guys about chickens. Now, chickens are kind of a hot topic right now. You know, with the rising egg prices, with the bird flu going around, with a lot of the commercial poultry industry kind of taking a little bit of a hit lately just with everything that's been going on. People are thinking a little bit more about egg prices and about food security, and so I think more people than ever are interested in getting their own backyard chickens. And that is something that I am always going to be in favor of. I love chickens. I think that everyone could benefit from chickens. Chickens are so much fun, and they definitely provide lots of eggs for you, and I am really all about the local food movement and the fresh food movement that's going on. I think it's a great thing. Now, if you're unsure about getting chickens, I did make a video maybe a couple weeks ago, I don't remember exactly when it was, talking about 10 reasons why you may want to consider chickens. I'll link that video below if you're interested, but I'm not going to rehash all that same information in this video. So for the purposes of this video, we're going to assume that you're thinking a little more seriously about chickens, and you're maybe trying to kind of decide how to go about that. And one of the first things that you're going to want to decide is what breed of chicken do you want to raise. Now, this video isn't just going to tell you this is the perfect chicken breed, you should definitely get this chicken breed, because honestly, it's not going to be a one-size-fits-all type of situation. There may be many reasons why one chicken breed might be right for you and not the right breed for somebody else. So what I'm going to do today is I'm going to go over 9 questions that are kind of starting points that kind of give you a jumping off place to research about which breed might be the best fit for you. Now, I do want to also let you know you don't necessarily need to decide on only one chicken breed. I have a mixed flock. I have 6 chickens with 4 different breeds among them, and I'm going to be getting 6 more chickens this spring, and again, there's going to be more breeds there. So you could definitely have a variety of chickens, but what I want to do today is talk about how you would go about narrowing down the types of chickens that you want to keep. Now, the first thing you're going to want to ask yourself is, why do you want chickens? Are you looking for eggs? Are you looking for meat? Are you looking for just kind of companionship and pets? Now, I'm just going to let you guys know that my experience is entirely with laying hens. We've never raised meat chickens. We've never butchered any of our hens for meat. So my experience is with hens for eggs only. And if you decide that you're looking for chickens for dual purpose or meat or anything like that, there are lots of other great resources out there that will give you more specific information than I can. So one thing to note is that while there are breeds that are considered dual purpose, which means that in theory you could get eggs from the chicken, and then when their laying days are over, you could in theory butcher them for meat, or else you could hatch eggs and then in theory butcher any roosters that hatch for meat. While that is in theory a practice, I don't have any personal experience with that, and I have heard from a lot of people that that doesn't really give you the best of all worlds. A lot of people do recommend that you keep a specific breed for eggs and a specific breed for meat. Again, I have no experience with that. My chickens are laying hens, and essentially there are pets as well. But that is a question that you want to ask yourself, because there are certain breeds that are bred specifically for meat production, and if you're looking for eggs, you want to make sure that that is not the breed that you choose. So if you've decided that you want to raise your chickens for eggs, the next obvious question that you're going to want to ask when choosing a specific chicken breed is about egg production. Now, different breeds will produce different amounts of eggs. This is probably a fairly easy question to get at least a ballpark figure of online. If you do a search, you can search for what chicken breeds produce the most eggs. You can search for certain chicken breeds that you're interested in, and you should be able to find a ballpark figure on average of about how many eggs per year that breed produces. Now, that is going to be just a ballpark estimate because a lot of it depends on your weather conditions, a lot of it depends on the nutrition that that chicken is going to receive, and honestly, a lot of it is just individual to the specific chicken. Now, I have some breeds where I have multiple chickens of the same breed, and they lay eggs completely differently, their personalities are different. So researching a specific chicken breed and how many eggs they produce on average will give you a ballpark figure, but it's not going to be a hard and fast rule because there are so many variables there. Now, another thing kind of going along with eggs per year you're going to want to look into is how many years those chickens will lay eggs for you. Now, the next factor that you're really going to want to consider when you're trying to choose a chicken breed is their temperament or their personality. So you kind of need to decide, is egg production the most important thing? Is temperament the most important thing. We kind of decided that egg production is important, but it's not the only important factor. We're a family of 4, and so we're trying to produce eggs for 4 people. We're not a commercial chicken farm where we're trying to produce lots and lots of eggs for sale. So while egg production is important to us, that was not the only factor. We did also consider temperament and personality. And while some of the breeds that we chose may not necessarily be the highest producing breeds, they do still produce eggs really well for us, but they also are known for having great personalities. So we kind of took both of those things into account when we were choosing chicken breeds for our homestead. Now the next thing you're going to want to take into account when you're choosing chicken breeds is their tolerance for your climate. So for example, if you live in a really cold place with really long cold winters, you're going to want a breed that is really known for cold tolerance. Now some things you're going to want to look for are an abundance of feathers. I mean, most chickens do have that to some extent. But you can really look online and you can find certain breeds that are more suited to colder climates or to warmer climates, depending on where you may be. One thing that you're going to want to consider is the comb. If you get a breed with a really large comb, that comb can help them cool off during the summer, but it is going to be more susceptible to frostbite in the winter. So when you get a really cold snap, your chicken with a large comb may end up getting frostbite, while the chicken with a smaller comb may not be able to cool off quite as well in the summer, but won't be as susceptible to frostbite in the winter. We do have one chicken that actually did get some frostbite on her comb this past winter. We had a cold snap that was very cold, much colder than usual for my area. And despite the fact that I took precautions to try to prevent frostbite, she still did end up with some frostbite. Now, her comb is healing up. She's going to be completely fine. But that is something to consider if you live in a really cold area. So another thing to consider when choosing a chicken breed is broodiness. Now, when a chicken goes broody, what that means is that basically they have decided that they want to hatch eggs. And a broody chicken will stop laying eggs. What she'll do is she'll collect a clutch of eggs, either eggs that she's laid herself or that other chickens have laid. And what she'll do is she'll just sit on those eggs trying to hatch them. When that happens, she's not going to be producing any more eggs for you. Now, depending on your goals with your chickens, broodiness could be a positive trait or a negative trait. If you are hoping to have an enclosed, sustainable flock where you hatch out your own eggs, you are most likely going to want some chickens that will be broody, unless you're planning to use an incubator or something like that. A broody hen can hatch some of those eggs for you and increase the size of your flock. If your goal is strictly egg production, you are not going to want broody hens, because while they're broody, those hens won't be laying. And it's not really in the best interest of the health of your hen to be broody if she's not actually going to be hatching eggs. So that's something that you want to take into account. We do have 6 hens. 2 of them are a breed called Buff Orpingtons, and Buff Orpingtons are known for the potential to go broody. So far, we've had our chickens for about a year and a half. They have not gone broody yet, but I know that it's something I may have to deal with in the future. So that's something that you're just going to want to consider. Is having your hens go broody something that you want, or is that a negative for you? So definitely look into that. There are certain breeds that are a lot more prone to going broody than others. And if you want to avoid having a broody hen on your property, you may want to choose breeds that are not known for going broody as often. On the other hand, if you're going to have a rooster along with your hens and you want to hatch out your own chicks and increase your flock size that way, having a broody hen could be a great asset for you. If you don't have a rooster, you could also purchase fertilized eggs for your hen to hatch out. So that could be another way to increase your flock size as well if you don't have a rooster. Another thing that you're going to want to consider is how much space you have for your chickens. Now, chickens come in a variety of sizes. If you're limited on space, you may want to consider a smaller breed like bantam chickens. They will take up less space. You can fit more of them in a smaller space. They will also eat less food. I have never raised bantams myself. I believe that they also produce a smaller egg. I'm not sure about egg production, if that's how that compares to a full-size hen. But if you are limited on space, bantams may be a breed you want to look into. There are other full-size breeds that are smaller than other breeds. Now, where I live, I don't have a ton of space, but I also don't need a real lot of chickens, and I like big fluffy chickens, so I have some larger breed chickens, and they have all the space they need. They're completely fine. But again, if you're limited on space, that's something to consider. If you are also trying to feed your chickens as economically as possible, you may also want to consider a smaller chicken as well, because they will eat less feed. Another thing you may want to consider is free ranging ability. Now, this depends entirely on your setup and your situation. Are you planning to free range your birds, or are you going to keep them confined to a run at all times? That may make a difference as to what breed you choose. Some breeds make better foragers than others. There are some breeds that you can let outside and they can find actually a pretty significant portion of their diet on their own. They'll dig through your yard looking at finding plant material, finding bugs, and while they will in most cases still need to have commercial feed, a lot of chickens can supplement a lot of their own diet through free ranging. Now, as I said, some breeds are better at that than others. So if free ranging is something that's important to you, you may want to choose a breed that is better suited for free ranging. If you're planning to keep your birds confined to their run all the time, then you may have different criteria for choosing which chicken breeds you choose. So another factor you may want to consider, and this is a little bit more of a fun, maybe kind of frivolous factor, and that is egg color. Now, if you're going to raise your own chickens, you might as well try to get something that you can't get at the store. Having all those different colored eggs is so much fun. Now, if you go to the grocery store, you'll find white and you'll find brown. And maybe if you have a local farm, you might be able to find some green or blue eggs as well. But there are actually chickens that will lay a really nice variety of eggshell colors. So if that's something that's important to you, you can seek out different breeds that lay different egg colors. And additionally, if you're planning to sell some of your eggs, you may be able to get a higher price if you're able to offer your customers something that, again, that they can't find at the store. If you can give them a dozen eggs with a big variety of colors, they may be willing to pay a little bit more for that novelty. So most of my chickens are brown egg layers, but I do have 2 Easter egger hens, which lay a really pretty green egg, and so that adds some really nice variety to our egg basket. And in the spring, when I have new hens coming, I do have 2 that are supposed to lay blue eggs as well, so I think our egg basket's going to look really pretty. But there's all kinds of new colors always being developed. You can find olive eggers now. You can find those really dark chocolate brown eggs, and those are beautiful. Eventually, I would love to get some. Black copper Morans are the chickens that lay the really dark ones. Eventually, I would like to get some of those as well. But for now, we have a variety of browns and a few greens, and I think it's a really pretty egg basket. So one other thing that you could consider, and again, this is another thing that might seem a little bit frivolous, at least on the surface, is the appearance of your chicken. Now, again, as I said, that's something that might seem frivolous, but there are so many chicken breeds out there. So when you've narrowed it down, say you've chosen to get get a bird with a laid-back personality that produces a large number of eggs that will not go broody, you're going to find so many breeds that fit that criteria, and then how do you choose between them? Now, when we chose our flock of chickens, we decided that we wanted a variety of appearances. So we got a variety of different breeds. And again, when we expand our flock this spring, we'll be increasing the number of breeds that we have, and our flock will have even more variety. And I'm so excited to see those little babies and watch them grow up and fit in with our big girls. So that's something that you may want to consider. Now, wild breed appearance, maybe for the most part, just kind of a fun thing, kind of a personal preference, and not really a really strong deciding factor. There are a couple things that you might want to consider about appearance as well that are a little bit more practical. Now, if you're planning to free range your birds, a lot of people do report that they have a larger amount of birds lost to predators when they have white feathers. Now, if you think about that, it makes sense. White birds will stand out from their surroundings a lot more. They'll be a lot easier for a hawk to see from the sky. They'll be easier for predators that are lurking in the woods to find. So that's just one thing to consider, and to consider the area where you're living, if you have a lot of predators or not. If you have a really high predator count, you may want to stay away from white chickens, but again, that's personal preference, and it's really going to depend on your area. Now, by contrast, I don't know if there's any truth to this, so if anyone has any experience with this, can you let me know? I have heard some farmers say that having black chickens will deter hawks. It's pretty well known that chickens do not like crows. Crows will harass chickens and chase them away. And so the theory is that when the hawk is flying way up in the sky and they look down and they see the black chickens on the ground with the flock, they associate them with crows and are therefore less likely to attack. I have no idea if there's any truth to that or not, but it's kind of an interesting thing to consider. I do have one black chicken, and we have never had any hawk attacks. That could be completely unrelated. I have no idea. But if you have any personal experience with that, or if you've looked into that at all, that is definitely something that I would be curious to look into. And in the future, I may consider adding more black chickens to our flock. If nothing else, they are beautiful birds, so it's certainly not going to hurt to have a few black chickens in your flock. So I hope that was helpful for you guys. I know that I did not just pick the ideal perfect chicken breed and say, this is the breed for you. But I'm hoping that these questions are kind of a starting point and will give you an area to research. I know sometimes when you're researching something like that, it can be kind of overwhelming to really know what to ask and what to look for. So my hope is that by sharing these questions with you, I kind of will give you a starting point to choose some chicken breeds. There are so many chicken breeds out there. Chickens are wonderful creatures, and if you look into it, I am sure that you will find the perfect chicken breed, or maybe even the perfect chicken breeds for you. Now, I'll share with you guys the chicken breeds that I keep. Now, as I said, these may not be the perfect chicken breeds for you, but we've been really happy with all of our chickens so far. So I have 6 hens right now. 2 of those are Buff Orpingtons, and this is actually kind of an illustration in the fact that despite the fact that breeds are known for certain characteristics, there is still a lot of individual variation. So one of my Buff Orpingtons is the friendliest bird that we have. She is one of the few birds that actually lets us pick her up without us having to chase her down and catch her. And she always comes to us for treats. She just really loves spending time with us. The other one, on the other hand, is our most standoffish chicken. She's a beautiful chicken, and we still really enjoy her. She does not like to be touched, she does not like to be picked up, and she will always keep a cautious distance from us. They're the same breed, but they're completely different. We also have a barred rock chicken. We really enjoy her. She's very sweet. She is probably, I would say, she's at least one of our 2 most consistent egg layers. She was actually our only chicken that kept laying all winter long. Most chickens will kind of take a break for the winter when they molt and when the daylight hours kind of become a little bit less. But she kept laying all winter long, stayed strong all winter. So I'd say she's probably our most consistent egg layer, along with one of our 2 Buff Orpingtons is also a very consistent egg layer as well. So we have 2 Easter eggers. They're very nice, sweet birds. We got those because we wanted a little bit of variety in our egg basket. We've been really happy with them. We also have 1 black Australorp. She's a little bit of a mystery to us. One of the reasons that I chose a black Australorp was because they are really famous for really high egg production. We also wanted a black chicken and just kind of the variety of appearances as well. But I will say our Australorp is a little bit of a freeloader. She has kind of always been that way. She doesn't usually lay eggs. Every once in a while, she'll pop one out and surprise us. She doesn't have any health issues or anything like that. It's just her. So she's a little bit of a different kind of chicken, but we love her anyway. So of our 6 chickens, we have 5 that produce really well. We have our 1 freeloader. They all have their own individual personalities, and we really love all of them. So we have lots of really exciting chicken stuff happening this spring. As I mentioned before, in May, we have 6 chicks coming, and I can't wait to meet those little babies. They're going to be all new breeds to us, so I'm really excited to raise them and see them grow up with our other girls. We're going to be expanding our chicken run since we will be increasing the number of chickens we have. They're going to need a little bit of a larger run. And I'm also going to be integrating those new chicks with our big girls for the very first time. So I will kind of be learning that as I go. So thank you guys so much for stopping by and hanging out with me today. I hope that you are really excited to begin your chicken journey, or maybe you have chickens and you're looking to expand your existing flock. So that is really exciting too. So I hope you guys are having a great day, and I can't wait to see you again soon. Bye guys, I'll see you next time.